Hello, this is Jennifer with Women Loving Jesus, and today we're on Proverbs 15:7. The lips of the wise dispense knowledge, but the heart of the fool does not do so. So, what this is saying, someone who has God's wisdom, when they talk, they give knowledge, whereas a fool does not give any wisdom from God when he speaks. Going over this scripture, I'm reminded of the past several scriptures, is just talking about how we talk. And God gives us directions on how we talk. And he really has emphasized this idea of this wisdom, things that come from God when we talk to others. And there's definitely people who are not following God and how they talk versus people who are following to God and how they do talk. And one thing that I think I wanted to just bring up is that our society, in some subtle ways, or maybe not so subtle ways, I think is trying to take this idea of speaking in wisdom and godly wisdom out of our language almost. Um, and really doesn't want the speech to be present. And I think one of the ways is this idea that is very common. If you have a concern and a problem, it doesn't matter what it is, right? And people mean well. I don't think people are malicious or are mean or anything, but I think it's just this, well, this is what you say, and this is what we're supposed to say, and this is where we're at. You have a problem, and people will go and say, well, what should I do? And people are like, do what makes you happy. And that doesn't line up with the wisdom of God, because I mean, we could turn this into a really long debate and pick out a ton of scriptures that would reflect that it's not about our happiness. And when we do have joy, it comes from the Lord. And that sometimes we have to do things that are tough, and that's good for us. And ultimately, there's self control in different areas. So it's not always about making happy, because someone something that can make you happy in the moment, first of all, may not make you happy the next day or a week later. I mean, there are people who, in the moment, it was a holiday, everybody around you's drinking, and you're like, oh, in the moment, it's going to make me happy to drink a whole lot. And the next morning, you may not be happy at all with that decision, and may have been a lot happier for that rest of the 24, 48 hours if you had decided not to listen and say, just do something to make you happy. And that is just one little scenario, but can apply to a lot of things. And maybe there's not wisdom when someone is saying do something that makes you happy, or you tell people to do something that makes you happy. Maybe that's just something in our society that has said that, when we really break it down, a lot of times isn't the best choice. And I have seen people follow that, well, do what makes you happy, and it creates a lot of problems. And so I do think this application for this verse today is to just bring in awareness that some things may sound good. Like, that sounds good, because you can think, well, how could someone be upset? Or that just sounds like I want the best for them. Or, that sounds like the best advice in the world. So let me just repeat it. Or I've heard so many people always tell me that. And these are amazing people who love me and smart and everything. So let me just say it. And I get that. But I think, and then we also have the choice not to speak. And the Bible has said that sometimes too. Sometimes we speak, sometimes we don't speak. And sometimes let's not just follow what everybody else is saying when we speak to others, because that might not be wisdom from God. So I pray that the Spirit of the Lord today has taken this verse and has encouraged you.